10 accounts. That's how many I destroyed before I finally understood what was really happening. Not one, not two, 10. Every time I funded a new account, I made myself the same promise. This is the one. This time I'm ready. I've learned from my mistakes. For a few days, I actually believed it. I'd open my charts with confidence. I'd stick to my plan. I'd feel disciplined. Then one trade would go against me. Just one. Suddenly, the calm disappeared. The plan no longer mattered. The rules I had promised to follow somehow became optional. I convinced myself this trade was different. I moved my stop loss. I increased my position size. I looked for another trade to recover faster, then another, then another. Hours later, I wasn't managing trades anymore. I was managing emotions, fear, hope, frustration, regret, desperation. By the end of the day, my account looked nothing like it had that morning. Then came the silence. No charts, no analysis, just me staring at the balance, trying to convince myself it wasn't that bad, telling myself I could recover. Until eventually, the account was gone. Again. The painful part wasn't losing the money. The painful part was realizing I had watched it happen in slow motion. Deep down, I knew exactly when I stopped trading and started reacting emotionally. But I ignored it. Because admitting the truth would have meant admitting that the market wasn't destroying me. I was. So I funded another account and repeated the exact same story. Different broker, different strategy, different indicators, same ending. For a long time, I blamed everything except the one thing responsible. The market. Market makers, news, volatility, liquidity, fake breakouts, bad luck. Anything that protected my ego. Because blaming the market feels better than questioning yourself. Your mind would rather believe the game is unfair than admit your habits are. Looking back, I can honestly say none of my first 10 accounts were destroyed by the market. They were destroyed long before I clicked the first trade. They were destroyed by the mindset I brought into them. I thought trading was about finding the perfect setup, the perfect indicator, the perfect mentor, the perfect strategy. I was convinced that somewhere out there was one missing piece that would suddenly make everything easy. So every loss sent me searching again. Another strategy, another YouTube video, another course, another indicator, another promise. I kept upgrading my system while completely ignoring the operating system inside my own mind. And that's the mistake thousands of traders make every single day. They don't carry a losing strategy into the next account. They carry the same thinking. Your broker changes. Your account number changes. Your strategy changes. But if your psychology stays the same, the ending usually stays the same too. The market has an incredible way of exposing whatever you refuse to confront. If you're impatient, it will show you. If you're greedy, it will magnify it. If you're afraid of losing, it will force you to face that fear. If your ego needs to be right, the market will challenge it every single day. The chart isn't creating these emotions. It's revealing emotions that were already inside you. That realization changed everything. Because I finally stopped asking, why does this keep happening to me? And started asking, why do I keep making the same decisions? That single question became the turning point. Because the biggest trap in trading isn't poor analysis. It isn't a bad strategy. It isn't bad luck. The biggest trap is believing that your biggest problem exists somewhere outside yourself. Once I understood that, everything began to change. Part 2. Why your ego makes every loss feel personal. The first thing that changed after my 10th blown account wasn't my strategy. It was my emotions. Because by then, I wasn't just trading charts anymore. I was trading my pride. Every position I opened stopped being a simple market decision. It became a statement. A statement about whether I was right. A statement about whether my analysis made sense. A statement about whether I finally figured it out. And that is where everything quietly started to break. Because once a trade becomes personal, logic stops leading it. You don't react to price anymore. You react to your opinion about price. A small loss stops being normal market behavior. It becomes disrespect. A stop loss stops being protection. It feels like failure. And instead of accepting the outcome, your mind immediately looks for ways to undo it. Move the stop, re-enter, add more volume, recover quickly, prove the market wrong. But none of that is trading anymore. That is ego in control. And ego is extremely dangerous in a probabilistic environment. Because trading is not a place where you get rewarded for being right emotionally. It is a place where you survive by being correct statistically over time. At that stage in my journey, I didn't understand that difference. I thought confidence meant certainty. I thought strong traders never doubted their decisions. So I forced myself to believe harder. I ignored hesitation. I ignored uncertainty. I treated doubt as weakness. But real trading confidence is not certainty. It is acceptance of uncertainty. Professional traders don't need to be right on every trade. They need to be disciplined on every trade. That distinction sounds simple now. But back then, it was the line between survival and destruction. Because when ego is involved, losing stops being a normal part of the game. It becomes an emotional event, a personal attack on your intelligence. And once that happens, your decisions change without you noticing. You stop taking clean exits. You start giving trades more room. You stop accepting small losses. You start turning them into bigger ones. You stop following your system. You start protecting your pride. I used to believe I was analyzing the market, but in reality, I was defending my previous decision. If I entered a trade, I wanted it to work. Not because it was valid, but because I had already committed to it. That is one of the most dangerous mental traps in trading. The need to be right after you are already wrong. Because the moment you cannot accept being wrong cheaply, the market will make sure you are wrong expensively.